Mà các bạn mà America sẽ ta để tỷ ra mà sẽ ta tỷ ra vì sao sẽ ta tay mà sẽ ta tỷ ra vì sao sẽ ta để cũng làm mà thì mà làm nhiều này họ đấy ok America sẽ ta để mình mà tỷ mà tỷ ra sẽ ta để nên tên này họ để thì nằm tên này mình ai xí rồi mình có sẽ cái bữa nha.
Hi, good morning. If you're in the cemetery, you're going to head right around this corner for me to the main entrance.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Defender quyền ha, tự quyền bọc, ok, tên trai là này, tên trai là lấy đẹp bảo hello, yeah, thank you, yeah, wonderful day. Rồi, xin nè. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. This is our first time here. We'd like to know where we have to begin. Once you go to the
You know what? My suggestion is, see where it says tram tickets over there? I would get on the train, and the reason is because what it does is it gives you a narrated tour of where you're going. That way you get to learn more about the cemetery. For example, when you get on that train, it's going to take you here, President Kennedy's grave. It's going to take you down here to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It's going to take you up here to the Arlington house, and it'll give you a narrated tour of this whole cemetery. That way you get more knowledge.
How many acres is this?
624 acres.
Is that big?
Oh yeah, that's big. That's very big.
Do you know how much the ticket costs?
You can ask them.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. You thắt ticket vậy đâu mày? Thắt ticket vậy mà với nhau. Giờ thắt xin mà ta lấy mỗi lái sau làm công này rồi. Lái sau mà ta lấy không? Chị mía giờ đấy.
cái tháp đường tăng ạ, cái tháp phải bao chồng,
Thấp cái này mới chở đấy.
cái tháp phải mà, cái tháp phải bao nhiêu?
Mình xả chứ là nhà mà tụi mình bên này xí đấy đâu.
We're in the driver's side of the vehicle, this beautiful gray building. This is the Women and Military Service for America Memorial, dedicated by Brigadier General Wilma L. Font to honor women, past, present, and future, who have both served and currently serve inside of our armed forces. Just ahead of at the top of the hill where we come up to Justice Walkway, and we're into the cemetery leading. We are able to find Dave here, Side Section 36, by the name of Edgar Evers. He is a World War II Army veteran, closely served by the NAACP, and investigated what we know to be hate crimes against As we continue to look out here on the passenger side of the vehicle, we're looking out at the Asian markers. These markers weigh 230 pounds each. And bring to any service member for in comparison, all on the drive side of the vehicle there, the much larger markers, different color, age, and sizes. These larger markers have been funded for families, organizations, and through donations. Since August 2017, the Bradley Funding markers have been discontinued because of the amount of space that they take up. These service members determined for which they either have a replica Asian marker, which we are able to see on either side of the vehicle, or the native service members are actually deciding to be cremated. For those cremation remains, most likely go inside an urn. They will most likely be placed inside of either each wall or a columbarium court. These are slots that the urn space being placed inside of. As we're headed to our first stop for President John F. Kennedy's gravesite at Eternal Flame, the 35th President of the United States of America was assassinated November 22nd, 1963 at Dallas, Texas. They just only 3 days after his assassination right here inside of the cemetery. His wife, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, she does lay right beside him, and 2 infant children on either side of them for Patrick Bouvet Kennedy and a stillborn baby girl. We're coming up on the passenger side of the vehicle. We'll be entering inside of Section 5. This is known as Supreme Court Justice Section. Many Supreme Court justices are able to rest here, including William Rehnquist, Warren Burger, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., Potter Stewart, and a few rows back on the passenger side of the vehicle coming up soon. You might be able to notice a tall black headstone here with a Star of David on it. That is the final resting place for Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Right behind the Wheaton's Monument, a few rows back, there'll be a lower Dr. Gray headstone there. That was the gravesite for the first African-American Associate Justice, Thurgood Marshall. That's against Kennedy's gravesite. To follow the passenger side of the vehicle where the gray steps are. Up the steps Following that pathway behind the stone wall, that is where you'll find Eternal Flame. From the flame, there is a walkway to the left that leads you to two separate white crosses. First white cross belongs to Robert Kennedy, other white cross belongs to Edward Kennedy, and at the very end of that same walkway, there's a memorial marker up there for that eldest brother, Joseph Jr. And just please wait till we safely come to a complete stop. So it goes to our complete stop. Anyone wishing to step out of the Kennedy's face. The vehicle is a large gray marker here with a cross on the back of it. This is the grave site for the first four-star African American general Daniel Chappie James Jr.
Đó, lùm mẹ đây.
Also,
Lùm mẹ đây, ốc.
airman. This grave site was right here on the passenger side of the vehicle. Daniel Chappie James Jr. First
Lùm mẹ ốc
four-star
đó. Dạ, lùm mẹ ốc.
airman. On the driver's side of the vehicle, right between the trees, you'll start to notice one of two equestrian statues here inside of the cemetery for Sir John Hill. He was a British field marshal that was given credit for cementing a very special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States. As we are making our next turn here on either side of our vehicle, section 2, many notables we are able to find buried here inside of section 2, such as Robert McNamara, Secretary of Defense.
Dạ, tôi sẽ lên luôn. Có nhà tôi sẽ lên luôn.
And she's here with her husband, who is a United States Air Force general by the name of Charles Blair.
Đây thì mà 50
Now, on the outside of the vehicle at the very top of the hill, coming up still, you'll start to notice four large markers for Chaplain's Hill. There will be a marker here with the word chaplain on the back of it, with the one chaplain for all faiths. The other three larger chaplains are specific for Protestant, Jewish, and Catholic chaplains of World War II, Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Also on the driver's side of the vehicle coming up, we'll be entering inside of Section 7. A notable we are able to find buried here inside of Section 7 by the name of 5-star General George C. Marshall, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, President of the Red Cross. General Marshall was also the author of the Marshall Plan, which helped redevelop Europe during World War II. Because of the Marshall Plan, General Marshall was actually able to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, and General Marshall is the only Nobel recipient we have laid to rest here inside of the cemetery. As we are coming closer to the front of the cemetery, soldier, ladies and gentlemen, the Tim Sentinels do ask for silence of respect and respect for the unknown. So here on the passenger side of the vehicle, before we reach that point, we will be going through Section 7A first, which is also here on the passenger side of the vehicle. Inside of Section 7A, right beside the second larger tree, there's a larger brownish gray marker here. This is the grave site for Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, heavyweight champion of the world. They're right next to Joe Louis, smaller government issue marker here for Lee Marvin, who was a famous
Lee
Marvin served in the Marine Corps.
Em ơi, em nhớ từ nước từ đâu vậy? Từ giấy từ đâu vậy? Em biết sai gì nào làm nhau rồi mà. Đấy là giao thông xảy đấy đó. Thế nên là sang ai chạy đấy, khán giả thì mình tuyệt lên mà. Đó nên chúng ta tuyệt suy này, chứ cái thì đường này là
We will just pass the unknowns for sounds of respect. Where we'll be taken to will be the back of the memorial amphitheater. Once we are able to get to our stop, I will be able to let you know how to get to change on the guard, and also we'll be able to give you other directions as far as the next pickup location, because your pickup location will be different from where we'll be dropped off at. And the memorial amphitheater to the unknown soldier is guarded 24/7, 365 days a year. 5/3 extra residents that is the old guard. Regardless of what is going on, these Stone Sentinels, they are still here.
This is not a year that would be hard. Aku, kami tidak setara tidak ada hari.
The cemetery was actually able to identify grenade testing
thì đó là vô được con nó là như vậy nó sẽ đi này xong rồi chỉ cho đứa nó mà bố trí sẽ ta là gì xong rồi mà sẽ xong rồi
including Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Can only hold about 5,000 people inside the Memorial Amphitheater. No, not outside of the theater. At the top, there will be a list of 44 battles that about the Revolutionary War through the Spanish-American War. Many other sites you are able to see across the street from the Memorial Amphitheater itself, such as the USS Mass, Shuttle Challenger, and Columbia markers, and Iran Hostage Rescue Mission marker, and a Canadian Cross of Sacrifice. Coming up on the driver's side of the vehicle, you'll see at the top of the hill 4 large cannons to a Spanish-American War monument. 2 inner cannons, U.S. cannons, 2 outer cannons, Spanish cannons. As we get closer to the cannons, so what's the difference in firepower between these cannons? It's like how the U.S. Also on the driver's side of the vehicle, coming up, there'll be a large tree at a great pathway that surrounds the tree. At the end of the path, there's a sign here that says, "Please do not toss coins." Directly beside the sign, find a resting place for Major Audie Murphy, one of the most decorated soldiers of World War II. As we are able to come to a complete stop, if I can get you on the hay barns just a little bit longer. To get to the changing of the guard. here has many of the memorials. Now, some have been established more recently. Over there to your left, the three vertical markers are the two space shuttle disasters on the outside, and one of the Bills and Rock hostage rescue attempt that happened in the Desert during the 1980s. And then, as were late 20th century, early 21st century, the Canadian Cross of Sacrifice, honoring American citizens who served with Canada during World War I. That's 1925. And then the mast of the USS Maine. The mast of the Maine was returned from Savannah Harbor from the salvage site to be attributed to the 266 officers and men who had lost their lives with the explosion of the ship. And the names of the casualties are remembered on the sides, engraved, and also on the interior, with the ship's bell also on the interior of the mausoleum that was recovered as well. Another section of the mast, that was the aftermast, the foremast, was returned and placed on the yard at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Quick reminder about keeping all the body parts inside, so please keep all the legs and arms and heads and elbows and shoulders inside the line of the railing on both sides. As we turn to our right, if you go back to the year 1861, when the Civil War began, there were two federal cemeteries that the United States government could use for the interment of casualties. And one was located over in Alexandria, which actually had been commissioned a mere couple of months prior to the start of the war, and then also the cemetery of the Sailors and Soldiers Home. By the end of 1863, both of these areas were exhausted, so the office of the Quartermaster General of the Army knew that they would have to start an additional third federal cemetery somewhere here in the location of D.C. Now, there were three hard and fast requirements that they couldn't get around. One, it had to be large, because Montgomery Meigs, who was the Quartermaster General of the Army, and he's responsible for this, figured that he would need between 15,000 and 20,000 interment sites to satisfy the interment rate that had developed. Also, it had to be, whatever property they used had to be accessible from the downtown area, because that's where the majority of the military hospitals were, and that is where the casualties were coming from. And then also, it had to be under the control of the United States government. Now, Arlington seemed to meet all three of those requirements. So in the spring of 1864, Montgomery Meigs gave the first initial set of orders directing that Union casualties be interred here at Arlington, and that began Arlington's career as a military cemetery. Now, during the war, it was easy for the Quartermaster General's office because they did directed interments. In other words, they had a set of remains, either identified or unidentified, and they said, okay, we are going to inter this set of remains here. However, over here on your left-hand side, this reflects a period of time after the Civil War, when families started to request that their loved one be interred here. Now, Meigs, who was the first superintendent of the cemetery, thought, well, they served honorably in the Union cause during the Civil War, so there's no reason why they should be here. In fact, there is the man himself, the guy who started the cemetery, right there to your left, right behind Stephen Fitzpatrick, Montgomery Cunningham Meigs. At the same time, the decision was made that they would not try to regulate the markers that the families were bringing in to use at each individual gravesite. So that led to some of these very large ornate markers, which eventually would be regulated. Over here to our right-hand side, we'll have General Philip Kearny. General Kearny, you'll notice his left sleeve is in the front of his tunic. He lost that left arm in the Mexican War, was killed in the Battle of Chantilly during the Civil War. Now here's the Tanner Amphitheater. Now this was the first location built specifically to be the host site for the annual observance of Decoration Day, which would then become Memorial Day. And this site was used from 1872 to 1919. Over here to our right then, you'll have Arlington House, the house we mentioned. Now again, I want to mention the fact that there are restrooms available here, and also there's a gift shop. But the real treat is the absolutely gorgeous panoramic view of downtown Washington, D.C. that you get from the front porch of Arlington House. So stop number 4, Arlington House. Is anybody getting up here at this time? Folks, now to access the property, please come to the forward part of the vehicle. Use that staircase to your right. And that will access the property. Vehicle. There should be at least one more vehicle coming directly behind us in about 30 minutes to be able to pick you up. Now, coming to Arlington House, would have been able to find a grave site here. This would have been a grave site for Pierre Charles Lafont. Now, he is the original architect of the plans of Washington, D.C. Many of the buildings that we have built today inside of D.C. were built based off original designs from Pierre Charles Lafont, such as the United States Capitol building and the Washington Monument, which would have been two buildings you would have been able to notice from that gorgeous view as well. Now, depending on your arrival to the cemetery, if you did get a chance to look at the flagpole that was directly in front of Arlington House, you would have been able to notice that the flag is at half staff today. That is because of the funeral services that are going on inside of the cemetery today. Prior to the first 30 minutes of the first funeral, the flag is lowered to half staff. Prior to the last 30 minutes of the last funeral, the flag is taken back up to full staff and then taken down before the sun sets, because nothing sets on freedom, not even the sun. Now here on the driver's side of the vehicle, we're looking inside of Arlington Woods. When the Leeds lived here, Plantation was a heavily wooded area. Thus, Arlington Woods is the Leeds they lived. Now further to the south, a very strategic location this was being used during that time. Now here on the passenger side of the vehicle, we're looking inside of Section 28. Many Korean War veterans and Vietnam War veterans are laid to rest inside of this section here on the passenger side of the vehicle. We also could find the Vietnam War Memorial Tree inside of Section 28 as well. There are over 140 memorial trees that are placed there inside the cemetery, memorializing many different things. Believe it or not, Arlington National Cemetery is also a Level 3 Arboretum.
Pero se lo enseñamos.
Inside vehicle, you start noticing part of what they do is projects that's here.
Oh, bien,
It's
ese
the
estaba
Millennium Project. This project site can hold an additional 28,000 more grave sites. The larger building structure that is there on the driver's side of the vehicle, this is what is known as a columbarium court. Inside of each court holds many niche or niche slots. Inside of each slot fits about 2 available urns or cremated remains. If you are wondering about who now may be eligible to be buried here inside the cemetery, the best way to find out that criteria is to be able to go onto the cemetery's website online. That is the best way to find out that eligibility requirement. Once again, is going onto the cemetery's website online.